Good evening, everyone, and welcome to round 9 of this SMA GT500 Championship. We are at the midway point of the 2016 Group 2 phase and the business end of the SMA Season 1. It was most certainly business as usual for Levitius in the last round as he cruised home to yet another victory, making it 5 back-to-back wins and 6 in total, making him the runaway leader at the top of the standings. And with just 4 races remaining, is there enough time for his competitors to catch up? I guess only time will tell, but before we get into that, it's time to introduce the double act in myself, Flawed Genius Gaming, and the unmistaken voice of our legendary podcaster, Hugh Hatrick, back from behind the scenes, providing the insight of our stars from the SMA. Good evening to you, Hugh, and how was that for you last week, by the way?
Good evening, Sean, and good evening, everyone who is watching on YouTube. I'm very well, thanks. I've had a fantastic week, an emotional roller coaster as I got my new steering wheel, my new Thrustmaster T598. And when I first connected it up, I was 3 seconds off the pace, thinking, what have I done? How much money have I wasted? But over the last few days, I've been playing away and managing to get my times down. But we had a wonderful interview on Thursday with all of the Tier 1 drivers from the SMA Championship, where we found out how they got started on GT7 and on sim racing, and what they thought of the championship and all the excitement, their best overtakes, and lots of fun and intrigue in between. So yeah, this week we're going to be doing Tier 2 on Thursday, but we can talk about that a bit later on. But no, it was great to meet the drivers, great to see them all. We've got one who looks just like Sebastian Vettel, but I'll let you find out who that is. But no, a wonderful week and a wonderful interview, and very much looking forward to the race tonight.
Yes, indeed. Yes, yeah. We'll definitely get you to explain all about it if there are folks out there that know nothing about these interviews. It was really, really good to see, and good to see the personalities behind the drivers that you'll see on track today. But yeah, definitely more on that a little bit later on, because it's important to shout out our sponsors for this season, as without them, none of these races would be possible. SMA is sponsored by Simulator Cave, the haven of all your high-end sim goodies, your number one place for all your sim racing requirements. The link is in the description below, so go onto their website, simulatorcave.com, for all the simulator needs you require. And also sponsored by TGSC Cape Town Golf Academy, the hotbed of nurturing talented golfing students to reach their full potential. And lastly, proudly associated with MSA Motorsport South Africa, partnered by the FIA, the only place for official leagues in South Africa. And also, speaking of Motorsport South Africa, there is a huge opportunity for those competing in SMA to register for your e-license at a very affordable price. It is to be involved in future FIA licensed events, including this inaugural MSA Cup tournament coming soon in late May, with many regional and international championships coming in future seasons and years to come. I can't emphasize enough what an honour and privilege it will be for the drivers to compete at the very highest level and earn your Springboks jackets, which is, of course, officially licensed by the FIA and Motorsport South Africa, providing that full recognition representing your country. So make sure you don't pass up this opportunity. Registration for this pro license is coming in the next few days. So make sure you're ready with all the video links provided on the SMA Discord, demonstrating how to enter the forms and creating your profile. So, Q, I guess it's time to see what's in store for the drivers in round 9 tonight. So, yeah, let's know what the drivers will be faced with today, Hugh, please.
Well, today is round 9 of our 12-week season in the SMA GT500 Championship. and we are in Belgium for a visit to Spa-Francorchamps. What an incredible racetrack this is. The distance is just a fraction over 7 kilometres long, with 20 corners, and of course located in Belgium. And the track distance is in clockwise fashion, and it has the steep hills of Stavelot with extreme track elevations. And our settings tonight, we have a qualifying session of 10 minutes and the race of 24 laps. The fuel is ×4 and the tyre wear is ×4. So if we watch those tyres, they're going to wear out, and we have a grid start with a false start check. And of course, we're using the 2016 cars, which are the Lexus RFC 2016, the Honda NSX, and of course the Nissan Nismo GTR from 2016. It is going to be a fantastic race tonight. I've been watching the tyre wear, and my goodness me, plus the potential for an awful lot of rain, just like we have here in the Scottish borders, and probably even more than that. But no, it's going to be a fascinating race tonight here at Spa.
Indeed. And on to the story of round 8 at Trial Mountain. So we saw Levitius record yet another emphatic victory to claim 5 wins in a row and his 6th win overall to really stamp his authority in this season's championship. But it was great to see VSR's JDJ back amongst the elite with a fantastic performance to finish in 2nd position to claim his 2nd podium overall from Tier 1 this season. Promoted into 3rd is VSR teammate Galara, as his VSR colleague Wolfie was handed a 3-place grid penalty with some off-track excursions, who had originally finished 3rd at the end of the race. That means TNR Deaky is promoted to 4th, VSR Richard promoted to 5th, and then it's his teammate VSR Wolfie, as mentioned, down in 6th position, and will also be handed a quali ban ahead of round 9. Then it was Puma's Neil that grabbed his best result of the season to finish in 7th, and TNR Whipperman also equaling his best result of the season from round 7 to finish in P8. 9th position went to VSR Fish, and a top 10 finish for demoted driver Papaya Racer, who was also handed a 2-place grid penalty and is now faced with a quali ban ahead of this race to boot. Then it's TNR's Captain Slow, who had a better time of things to finish in 11th position, and was followed by Puma's Mac to come home in 12th position. 13th was TNR's Gilbert, and unfortunately for MGR Kennels, he had a hardware issue and had to retire from the race early, and so he gets a lowly 14th position. But how does that look in the point standings, I wonder? So this means the standings after 8 rounds sees Levitius extend his lead to 40 points over teammate Deaky, who really needs to start racking up the wins and hope Levitius starts to falter if he has any chance to catch his teammate. Although not mathematically impossible, it's quite the tall order at this stage with 4 races remaining. With VSR Richard 29 points back in 3rd, and VSR JDJ a further 12 points back in 4th. And despite his penalties from round 8, Wolfie has moved into 5th, replacing Papaya Racer in 6th, who is 3 points behind Wolfie. In 7th we have VSR Galara, who is 21 points ahead of his teammate VSR Fish, who occupies 8th position. In 9th we have Puma Racing Neil, and looking over his shoulder is Puma's Mac, who currently holds the top 10 position, but just 3 points behind is TNR's Whipperman for 11th, and Captain Slow promoted to 12th position, just ahead of his TNR teammate Gilbert, who is just 2 points behind in 13th. And then after his retirement from round 8, MGR Kennels holds on to 14th position, hoping for better luck this time around. So Hugh, I heard the weather is predicted to be pretty awful out there, but how's it looking at the minute?
Well, at the moment, as they're doing their practice session, It's still dry, but it's getting quite foggy, quite misty, almost like a Sherlock Holmes novel out there on track. But it is dry, so they're using the racing soft tyres. And I was watching them earlier, and you know, by lap 3 on the racing soft, there was significant tyre wear. So it's going to be interesting if there's any dry weather at all during the race. Will they use the racing soft tyres, or will they just use the intermediate tyres if it gets wet and the track starts to become even more difficult? But it wouldn't be a Spa race if there wasn't some rain, would there? It's always infamous for these incredible wet races, and perhaps we will see some of that tonight. But yeah, tyre wear and crucially strategy. Can the others, other than Levitius, can they get the strategy right? Will they go for 2 runs on the intermediate tyre that will get them through? We've got 24 laps to go in this incredible season, and we're going to see who is going to come out on top. The top of the South African drivers that are in this league. Can they beat Levitius? They've got to take the title to him, because at the moment he's marching away with it. So can they do it, Sean? Can somebody take the challenge to Levitius? We'll have to find out.
Yeah, certainly, Hugh, and they're going to have to do it now, because we've got 4 races remaining. Not many points available for the drivers now. 40 points is the lead over Deaky in second, and then it's even further to third position. So at this stage, you would say that maybe Deaky is the only one in contention to challenge Levitius, but he will definitely need to win all the races from now on, and hope that Levitius has an off day, maybe has a bit of an incident, certainly at Spa, if it is going to be very wet and damp conditions out there, this is probably the perfect opportunity to see whether or not Levitius could potentially make a mistake. But so far this season he hasn't. He's been absolutely formidable, and yeah, he quite truly deserves his big lead at the top of the championship. But good to see the viewers in chat right now. We have got Eben in, we've got Kennels, and we've got Freak Schaefer as well, and it looks like 2 of them are saying let's go JDJ. It's always good to see fans of JDJ. It seems like they're out in their force, and of course Kennels, who was very unlucky last week when he had a few wheel issues. Hopefully, fingers crossed for him, there'll be no more issues for him, and he can get the best results possible. I do feel like because of the nature of the weather and the way that Spa is as well, that this is going to be very unpredictable going into this race. There could be a bit of a freak shake-up in terms of grid ordering. But of course we've got a long race ahead of us, 24 laps around Spa with a 10-minute qualifying session as well. So yeah, we don't like to predict things ahead of time, but who knows what will happen here today. But make sure, if you are new to the channel, please do hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button as well. I did recently see that we hit 150 subscribers, so thank you everyone for the continued support on this SMA channel. Of course, we are very new on the YouTube platform, and it's great to see that fantastic growth we've been having so far this season. So and Levitius, welcome as well. How you doing, Levitius? Good luck in your race as well. Yeah, hope you survive out there in what could be very, very tricky conditions, as we see Deaky go for a nice little spin, perhaps listening in the background there. But yeah, nice manoeuvre there, Deaky. And Fred as well, welcome. How you doing? And good to see you as well. Also, let us know, for those that were driving in the other tiers, let us know how you got on today, and hopefully I can give you a bout of congratulations. But also as well, Anne-Marie de Jager as well, welcome. And it was actually, I saw Anne-Marie in your interview, Hugh, on Thursday evening. It was good to see a good turnout of SMA viewers, drivers. So yeah, we got a reset of the lobby so that they've got the correct conditions going into qualifying. So we will get back on board in 1 second. I think we've got a 2-minute message here, Hugh, as the host is just sorting out the grid right now. But
Doesn't the track look great though? And those GT2 cars, I was actually following them. They did a practice race yesterday, and I was in it for one lap. I thought I'll put my GT2 car in there, and I just let them all run in front of me, and it was quite wet, and it was spectacular to say the least. As they were all getting used to the conditions, so I'm sure they'll be ready for it today. But it's going to be so tricky. Lots of power from these GT2 cars, but quite a lot of downforce and quite a lot of grip. But I think we're going to see some great overtakes and some real battles. And of course, when the weather comes down, the strategy could play such a big key. You know, coming in on the right lap could make all the difference. You could gain 20 or 30 seconds in a lap if you're on the right tyre. So let's see what happens, but I have to say I'm very excited about this one.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, the tyre wear is quite extreme, I think. I think we are about to start qualifying now. So a 10-minute qualifier ahead of this 24-lap race here at Spa-Francorchamps. And this is one of my favourite locations. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the fastest around here, but certainly it's a layout that I fully enjoy. It's always a great race here in the hills of Stavelot in Belgium. And I mean, that's got to be one of the most iconic corners in any race calendar at Eau Rouge. And it's always quite frightening to see how steep that chicane is. We're coming through Melmedy right now, which will be leading up to Brussels for turn 8 and turn 9. I think. Does it count as? Yeah. No, sorry. That is turn 8, and then on to Speaker's Corner, I do believe it's called, or it might be No Name. I think it's No Name actually, officially called at turn 9. Then we're at the Double Gorge, or some people call it Pouhon. And through the exit we go, and then through to La Fogne for turns 12 and then 13. The right followed by the left-hander, and then through to Campus for turn number 14. And then the famous Paul Ferrer corner as well at turn number 15. And then it's pedal to the metal all the way. It's not really a straight, but it's pedal to the metal through these fast sweeping corners through Blanchimont at turn number 17. And then we come up to the famous bus stop chicane at turns 18 and 19. And I do predict there'll be a few manoeuvres in this section of the track as we come out the exit there. And a lot of the drivers will be starting their outlap right now. And to be honest, Hugh, I have heard that the weather is going to be hit and miss. So it's going to be interesting to see how many laps they get on the dry circuit, and hope that the heavens don't open during qualifying.
Yes, it's going to be something, because as I was watching them yesterday coming into the bus stop chicane, it was dry in most of the track, but then at the bus stop chicane it was wet, and so trying to break into that chicane was really difficult, and many were just going wide. So that could be interesting if we have rain from the word go, or if it starts raining in certain parts of the circuit but not others. And there can be really heavy rain here as well. Plus you've got that mist, so the conditions can be almost dark. It can be very murky. It's going to be a real challenge for the drivers, and it'll be interesting to see how the different cars handle. Is the Honda going to come to the fore tonight, or with that Nissan, that GTR, which I think is four-wheel drive? Then that could play. They might well need it tonight. A bit of mud plugging, hopefully not, but certainly it's going to be very interesting to see how the cars fare and how the drivers are going to play out and you've got to choose your moves very, very carefully. But I think the key thing will be you've got to be on the right tyre, because whatever happens with the weather, that's where the biggest winning or losing will happen. If you get on the wrong tyre, then it's going to be a lot of trouble and a very long race. But you never know what can happen here, and we've seen lots of races in the past where it rained in the last few laps, and then of course people come in for the full wet, and all of a sudden they could make up lots of places. So will that happen tonight, Sean? I just have a feeling this could be an absolute cracker, and we'll see some people on the podium who have never been on it before.
Indeed. Well, looks like JDJ's on a bit of a flyer right now, and I'll be honest, I've never used Group 2s around here, so I'm not always sure about the pace, but JDJ just coming around the final corner now to set a 2-minute.333, which is 4 tenths quicker than Galara Bryn in second position. Fish is in third with a 2:01.0. Then we've got, it looks like Levitius, of course, Levitius with the fastest time of the session so far. 8 tenths of a second faster in that GTR of his, 1:59.505, and it looks like DK has managed to propel himself up into fourth position as well, 2-minute.6, which is actually Richard just a tenth and a half quicker, who's moved up into third position. And then we've got Fish in sixth with Neil in seventh, Whipperman in eighth position. It's very tight actually between Whipperman and Captain Slow, because there is literally just 300th of a second separating them for P8 and P9, with Kennels in the top 10 with a 2-minute.1.599, so 2 seconds off the pace from Levitius. And then we've got Puma Racing Mac in P11 and Latari in 12th position. I pressed the wrong button there. In 12th position there, and of course something to mention as well, if you did miss it earlier on, Papaya Racer and VSR Wolfie have a qualifying ban ahead of this race due to some infringements in last week's race, that is. So they're serving that quali ban, and they're going to have to fight from the back of the grid. So at the moment, it does look like Levitius then is the fastest man on the circuit. He's got Whipperman, though, in a little bit of traffic, but he may be able to use that to his advantage, because we are coming to the sort of flat-out section here. So he might get the overspeed here and maybe gain a little bit more time as JDJ goes quicker, but still within 6.5 tenths of a second to Levitius with a 2-minute.149. It looks like the rain is starting to appear, but Richard does go a little bit quicker, 300th of a second quicker to remain in P3. Levitius, no, he doesn't go quicker. So he does remain on pole position, but I've got this feeling that if the rain is starting to come in, Hugh, that the drivers probably won't go quicker in what we've got about 3.5 minutes worth of qualifying action. So yeah, this could be an opportunity for the drivers to practice a little bit in the rain, but it does look like, yeah, there is a little bit of water on the surface. So yeah,
the wipers are on.
Yes, indeed. I was going to quickly ask you, Hugh, would you just be able to quickly take over for the a couple of minutes of this qualifying session? There's just something I need to attend to, but I'll be back very, very shortly.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Now we have VSR in JDJ in second place, and he is just over a tenth in front of Deacon. So the gap to Levitius is just over 6 tenths, but then it gets much narrower as we go through the field. For example, we have Deacon in third, who is just under 2 tenths ahead of VSR Richard, who is in fourth, and he's just under 3 tenths ahead of Galara Brown in fifth, and then it's Vartavus in sixth, Captain Slow in seventh, Puma Racing Neil in eighth, and I'll run through that. Whipperman in ninth, Kennels in 10th, and in 11th it's Puma Racing Max, and here we go, and then it's Lotari Racing in 12th. And then, of course, the 2 places for 13th and 14th who are not taking part in qualifying. But they've all come back to the pit, so they're realising now that it doesn't look like they're going to be able to get a lap in that's any quicker. So as we come in just over 8 minutes of qualifying done, but this is a bit like Formula One, they've all come back in. I remember we had a few qualifying races in Formula One where they couldn't go out because it was too wet, so they just sat in the pits. But at least our drivers have all set qualifying laps. But at the moment, and it looks like that will probably be the same, Levitius is in pole position, and with a 1:59.505, so he's the only one to get under the 2-minute barrier here at Spa-Francorchamps. But in PS2 we've got VSR JDG, and then we've got Deacon, then Richard and Galara, Vartavis, Captain Slow and Racing Neo in 8th. So the rain has begun to fall quite heavily. Now will that carry over to the race? I have a feeling that it may well do, and if that is the case, then it will probably be the intermediates. So as a driver, what are you going to choose? Intermediates or wets? Is it going to be wet enough for the full wet tyre to work properly, or will the intermediate tyre be the one to choose? It's all going to be up to the drivers. Are we going to see some master strategy, or will the drivers follow each other, and will they wait to see what each other does and then do exactly the same, or will they do the opposite?
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing, I think. Hugh, sorry about that. A little emergency there I had to quickly attend to there, but we're back. So, all the drivers are in the pit lane then, because the heavens did open, and they weren't able to obviously go any quicker there. So we will await the race start. There will be a 24-lap race here at Spa. But welcome in everyone that's just joined. So we've got Stephen just come in. I'm always going to struggle with name pronunciations. I think it's Cross, or it might be Kos or no, I don't know. I think it's Cross. But he's saying good luck, guys. Anyways, we got Sir Mags. We've also got Vessel as well in here saying good luck, Richard. Welcome everyone. Hopefully you're all having a fantastic evening. I do apologise for my mispronunciation as always. We're going to quickly show you the qualifying results then. So it was Levitius that grabs pole position ahead of this 24-lap race here at Spa, ahead of VSR JDJ by 6.5 tenths of a second. Them two are going to be on the front row, with the second row in third position, Deaky with a 2-minute.280. Starting alongside him on row 2 is VSR Richard with a 2-minute.456. And then on the third row, we've got VSR Galara Bryn, who will be starting alongside a VSR Vartavis or Fish for P6 on row 3. And then row 4, we got TNR Captain Slow with a 2-minute.902, who was 1/10 ahead of Puma Racing Neil, who's going to start alongside him in 8th position. On row 5, then we got TNR Whipperman, who will be starting with Kennels on row 5. Row 6 will be Puma Racing Mac with Latari Racing joining him. And then 13th and 14th, of course, we know Papaya Racer and VSR Wolfie had that quali ban. They're going to be starting from row 7, but we'll definitely have to keep an eye on them, because we are expecting them to be rather pacey, particularly at the start. So they could be making up many positions in the first few laps. So definitely watch out for them. But it's certainly going to be a fascinating race here. Obviously, the weather is going to play a big part in this race, I think. And we've got 1 minute until the race starts. But let us know in chat who you're rooting for, who you think will get the race victory, maybe your top 3. And also as well, if you haven't already done so, go and hit that like button on the channel. And if you are new to SMA, then please do smash that subscribe button as well, because it really, really does help the channel out, and we fully appreciate it. Welcome in Conroy as well. or Conway in is saying let's go TNR as the race is about to get underway. So let's get all the stuff up for you guys, if it allows me to. Okay, there we go. So it's going to be Levitis and JDJ that's going to get us underway. Levitis is going to have that inside line though for La Source. So JDJ is going to have to try and sweep in front of Deaky as it's 5 red lights and lights out, and away we go for round 9 at Spa. And Deaky trying to hold off Galara Bryn, who is currently in 4th position, but it's a good getaway from Levitis, who's in front of VSR JDJ. But Deaky is for company all over the gearbox of JDJ. He's going to hounding like a wasp right now as they draw up side by side, and it looks like Deaky is going to make the move on JDJ as he's got the inside line for Lacombe. And Deaky does take that 2nd position away from JDJ with a little bit of contact in the braking zone there, but Deaky able to get his way past JDJ with Galara in 4th position, Richard in the 5th position. Then we've got Fisher Sif, Captain Slow up into 7th position with Kennels firmly behind him in 8th position. And then we've got 9th, we've got Neil and Papaya Races already made up 4 positions then from the quali band they had there. And then Whipperman in P11 and Mack in P12. I might actually have to have a look at a replay, but Wolfie down in 13th, although he has already made the move on Latari Racing. So let's go back to the top just to see if there's any movers and shakers, but it's looking like it's how it is. JDJ is looking to take that place back from Deaky, who Deaky may be in a little bit of a sitting duck right now. It looks like Galara has just picked up a half-second penalty then for cutting a track limit. So I do believe he may be serving that on this lap, if not definitely the next lap. But let's quickly look on board with Deaky and JDJ. I don't think JDJ is close enough to sling one up the inside. He may look for the cutback, or he may just play the smart game and wait until we get to the straight past Eau Rouge, and I've forgotten what it's called. Kebble Straight, there we go. I don't know how I forget these things, but anyways, yeah, so far so good though, Hugh. How's it looking your end?
Yes, we've seen some battle between Vars Vartabis and VSR Richard in 5th and 6th, and also Captain Slow in 7th, but that's where they are at the moment, with Kennels in 8th. And we've got Puma Racing Neil hanging on to 9th, but it looks like, yes, there's a big battle between Kennels and Papaya Racer as they go side by side up the straight, up the Kemmel Straight, and they're coming through, and it is Kennels who takes that place from Papaya Racer, but there's nothing in it. And Puma Racing Neil has also picked up a penalty, a half-second penalty, and he has dropped down to 10th. But there's a real battle going there. And then we've got Wiverman in 11th, and he is a little bit further back. But there's nothing in it between 8th, 9th and 10th. A real battle that we have here. But even further down the field, it's so happening. I'll hand straight back to you.
Yeah, Wolfie down into 14th place now. So he was initially 13th ahead of Latari. I'm not sure if he made a mistake or not. I do have a replay stored that I was looking to try and play, but there's a lot of action going on in the opening laps of this race, of course. Whipperman is trying to hold off Puma Racing Mac to stay in front of Puma Racing Mac in the 11th position, yeah, very close between the three drivers, as Latari Racing, of course, Gilbert, not making it any easier for us commentators, normally Gilbert, but Latari Racing now, so yeah, he's coming in 13th, but yes, it is Neil and Mac who are literally up the exhaust of each other as Mac looked to go up the inside, but decided to tuck back in. But then there's Wolfie as well, and Wolfie is very, very close to the back of Puma Racing Mac. In fact, he gets in front of him then, so goes up the inside. I think Mac just let him through. So if it's safe enough, I'll try and get the replay of the move from I think it was Kennels on Papaya Racer, but they are a line astern at the moment between JDJ, Richard, Fish, Galara, and then Captain Slow not too far behind in a 7th position with Kennels in front of Papaya Racer with a half-second penalty then, and that is definitely going to hurt him as he tries to hold on to 9th position. So let's have a look on this replay quickly whilst I've still got a chance. So in fact, where is he? He is... Oh no, I was on the wrong camera. Yeah, Kennels made the move there. And yeah, I just completely messed that up, so sorry guys. So that is the grid order at the moment. Kennels holding an excellent P8. I do believe if he finishes in that position, that would be his best result of the season, or perhaps at least joint best result of the season. So we'll see how he gets on during this race. But Papaya Racer has got that half-a-second penalty as mentioned, and I do believe he'll be serving it as he comes up to Blanchimont. So he may lose out to Whipperman, who is currently in 10th position, a second behind, but that half a second will be more like a second with Whipperman having that overspeed on the flat out section. So there you go. Whipperman has got the overspeed, and yeah, he is right on the gearbox of Papaya Racer now, who is going to hold that defensive line, although I thought Whipperman was going to send it down the inside, but decided better of it. So he will remain in 10th as all the drivers, looks like, is coming into the pits, Hugh. So Papaya Racing in, Whipperman, Puma Racing, Neil, Mac and Latari all coming in from the soft tyres then. So this is going to be interesting because we haven't got the weather map here. So we don't know how close the rain is in proportion to the information that the drivers have got. So Levitis at the moment is currently leading the race though with a 1.8 second lead over Deaky, and JDJ 1.2 seconds further back in 3rd position. VSR Richard is leading his team of drivers then in 4th position, with Fish in 5th and Galara in 6th. And then we've got Captain Slow in close proximity of them in 7th position. But the one thing that you can see though, guys, is the water meter on your bottom left-hand side. At the moment, it looks like we're still in that slick territory. But I mean, the heavens could open any time soon. Obviously, there is a little bit of rain. It's perhaps a little bit drizzly at the moment, and maybe just about safe enough to be on the slick tyres, but that could change in an instant. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. But what are your thoughts though, Hugh?
Well, looking at Papaya Racer in 11th, he's the first driver to use the intermediate tyres. Now, there is a little bit of rain around the track, but will he burn through them, or is there enough? Now, I can see his wipers going in 11th place there, so at certain parts of the track it is getting wetter. But has he made the best move? Because at the moment, Levitius and Deacon and JDG, they all stayed out on the racing soft tyre. But could this be the move that will close them up? Because I would imagine that Levitius and the top drivers, yes, in fact, Levitius and Deacon have just come into the pits right now. So they'll be changing tyres over. What can Papaya Racer do? Can he get out there? Because it's a very, very long pit stop here at Spa. Can he make up some time in some places and have a brilliant move by going on the intermediate tyres just at the right time?
Yes, indeed. Well, we've got Papaya Racer now approaching Blanchimont for turn number 17 and approaching the bus stop chicane now. So it's going to be interesting to see where Levitius comes out. I think he may just stick in front of Papaya Racer with the lead that he did have, with Deaky following closely behind and JDJ P3. But I do think that possibly... Oh, here we go. They're bunched up now. So we got VSR, Richard and Fish side by side. But Richard allows Fish to get in front of him to go into P4. Richard P5, Gallara P6, Captain Slow P7, Kennels P8. There's Papaya Racer now. So Papaya Racer may have lost a little bit of time on the outlap for the intermediate tyres then. However, still in a great position in a ninth position. Wolfie has now moved up 4 positions then to go up into 10th position ahead of Latari Racing. Goes a little bit wide and almost kinds of blocks off Neil there as Neil had nowhere to go, but luckily no contact involved, and Neil just behind him in 12th with Whipperman P13 and Puma Racing Mac in 14th position. Now we are predicting that the GTR is not as strong, even though Levitius is leading the race and Deaky's in second position. I have been told that the Honda NSX is supreme in these conditions. Perhaps not quite telling the story right now, as we've got JDJ in third position, the only Honda driver in the top 4. But of course, with the train of VSR drivers in Fish and Gallara in P5 and P6 will be looking to climb up the ranks as the race unfolds. But Captain Slow, gotta say, very, very impressed with him at the moment. 7th position for him. Of course, the TNR driver in the GTR with Kennels as well, occupying 8th position. So doing a really, really good job there. 3 seconds ahead of Papaya Racer. And then we've got VSR Richard, who is under all sorts of pressure from Latari Racing in P11. But yeah, they're both the 2 Honda drivers there. So I was hoping that the Lexus drivers would be a little bit more comfortable in these conditions, because the Lexus apparently, if you drive it correctly, apparently is pretty good in these wet conditions. But currently right now you've got Puma Racing Neil in 12th and a little bit of sideways action as well from Latari, but he regathers his composure there to remain in P11. But yeah, of course, Puma Racing Mac at the back of the grid at the moment, 4.5 seconds adrift of Whipperman in 14th position. So we're going to get back on board with Deaky, who has just picked up a half a second penalty then for cutting track limits. He will lose a fair chunk of time to JDJ in 3rd position. But yeah, Hugh, how's it shaping up for you at the moment? I mean, is this going against the script?
Well, they're managing to, I have to say, not have any issues at all, though. Just watching from Deacon's car there, Levidius had a big slide coming out of the corner, but he's got a half-second penalty. But I wonder how much difference it's going to make, because now he's really putting the pressure, and he's just 7/10 behind Levidius. So from 1.8 seconds, he got it down to a second in less than half a lap. So I definitely think that Deacon is in very good form here in the wet weather, and it's getting extremely wet. If you look at the rain on the windscreens, it's quite something, and the amount of spray being kicked up from the cars, it's getting very, very wet. In fact, I wonder, will these intermediate tyres last, or will they have to come in again for a set of wets? But certainly Deacon is keeping the pressure on Levitius, and it's just now about a second or so as they come up to the penalty line. But yes, I mean, it's great to see all the changes of places with Kennels and Richard, and Captain Slow now up into 6th place with Bartabas in 5th. But what a race we are seeing so far. Very exciting, and we've done only 6 laps.
Indeed. See if I can catch a replay on Captain Slow's move. No, it looks like we've just missed it there. So Captain Slow already made the move, but making great progress as he has moved up 1 position and into the top 6. So very, very impressive driving from Captain Slow so far. Hopefully he can keep it up, as he's firmly in a VSR sandwich right now with Fish in P5 and Richard in 7th position respectively. So yeah, it's certainly very close between 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, and then we've got Kennels 8th, Papaya Racer not too far behind in 9th, and then Neil Wolfie in a bit of a tangle right now, as it looks like Wolfie has just made the move on Neil, but Neil will have the overspeed as we come through Eau Rouge and down the Kennel Straight. Can Neil use that slipstream to his advantage? No, maybe not, because TNR Whipperman has gone around the outside and Neil has picked up a half-a second penalty, so he's looking like Whipperman is going to make the move on Wolfie, and it gets, oh, it goes wide. He goes wide. Let's. I'm going. Do you know what? I had a replay saved there, but I'm going to have to go over it now. And Whipperman now under pressure from Latari. So let's have a look at what happened there as they go side by side. I think Latari has just taken that position away from him. So there's TNR Whipperman and Wolfie side by side as we come up to Lacombe, and it looked like, yeah, Whipperman just got a much better exit out of Eau Rouge, but then went way too deep on the brakes and then losing 2 positions and possibly another to Latari, and in fact he does, so down into P13 then. So yeah, it's all kicking off in this race, and certainly in these conditions really cashing out the drivers, because Papaya Racer has now made the move on Kennels as well to move up into P8. Kennels down into P9, and with all types of pressure to Wolfie, who is now trying to steal that P9 away from Kennels now. So it's all happening through the mid-pack, and then Captain Slow and Vartafish just in front, and Galara all within a second of each other. So certainly quite a number of battles going on right now, Hugh. Really difficult to keep up with it.
Certainly, and they're on their intermediate tyres, and they're lasting quite well. I reckon their use will be about 20% of the wear rate at the moment when I'm on board with Papaya Racer just now. And he's also got just over half a tank.
Who's that in the background? I think that was Latari. Puma Racing Mac as well. And there must have been some sort of collision there. So I'm going to get on board with Latari, but in the bus stop chicane, looks like something happened between them all. So going into the bus stop chicane now, there's Latari, there's Puma Racing Neil, there's Whipperman, and there's Latari going all sorts of sideways, and then Mac as well going sideways out of the final corner. And yeah, 2 drivers finding it extremely tricky through the exit of the turns, particularly at the slow part of the bus stop chicane, and they've both picked I think they've both picked up damage. Latari got away with it, actually. He didn't scrape the wall. Mac has got front aero damage though, so his race at the moment going from bad to worse, Hugh.
Yes, I just see that. It does seem like they spin on their own. They just spun out, but it is very tricky. I think you've got to watch the curbs, and find every corner that you're exiting here at Spa, it's going to be so wet and greasy that it's going to take it out of the tyre, and you've got to be so careful when you balance that throttle to get a good exit, because you can see the amount of I mean, even I'm on board with Levitius, he is really struggling out of the bends. So if he's struggling, then what is it like for the other drivers too? It's very, very sketchy in these Group 2 cars because they're so powerful. But at the moment he's only got a 2-second lead over Deacon, so it's kind of steadying out. And I noticed as well that his wipers have stopped going. So is it maybe lightening up a little bit in the rain? It looks like it has come, the rain kind of device there is now below the 3/4 again. It was above that. So is it maybe easing up a little bit? There's going to be real strategy in here, because do they stay on these intermediates for a while? Will we see a dry line emerge? But they're really struggling on track. It's very, very wet on track, and it doesn't seem to be dispersing. In fact, that lap there was a 2 minutes 18.7. So you can see just how we've lost nearly 18 seconds by using the intermediate tyre, and as the conditions have changed. But it's all to play for, and Levitius is just under 2 seconds ahead of Deacon.
Oh, and Wolfie getting a good run out of La Source, but Yeah, I think perhaps just slightly backing off, allowing Kennels to go through Eau Rouge. You can't really go too wide side by side through Eau Rouge and up the hill, but Wolfie looking to capitalise on that slipstream and maybe try to sling a move up the inside, although it looks like he's just backing off for the time being. So he's going to remain in 10th position for the time being. But yeah, it's certainly all happening right now. Captain Slow is now down in P7 with Papaya Racer. It looks like he's made the move on him into 6th position, and then we've got Vars Vartavis, who is just in front with Galara just in front of him. So it's all changing, and this is really hard to keep up with you, because I think I've missed about 3 moves so far. It's so hard to predict where these moves are going to happen, unfortunately. But at the moment, yeah, it is the rain has stopped for the time being, so this is the stage where the drivers do need to try to kind of almost like stay to the wet part of the circuit so they don't overheat the tyres, and try to save as much grip as possible, you know, before there's any further rain, I think. So but yeah, certainly the grid has opened up slightly, and yeah, we have got Levitis, who has a 1.5 second lead over Deaky. Actually, Deaky has gained half a second last time we last got on board with them. 2:18s, or the last one was a 2:18.7 from Levitius. Deaky's last lap was a 2:18.5. JDJ roughly the same sort of pace, 2:18.6. And then looks like Galara. Yeah, it's definitely drying up, isn't it? Because yeah, 2:08s now for the leading drivers, 2:09s for Galara, JDJ, Vars Vartavis 2:08.8, Papaya Racer 2:08.2. So yeah, it's definitely coming back to the drivers out there. They're starting to get a little bit more confidence on the circuit now, and able to maybe push the car a little bit more. But as I say that, nearly a commentator's curse. It looked like Captain Slow was struggling through Eau Rouge onto the curbs, but just manages to keep the car pointing in the right direction there. So but yeah, there's Wolfie now though. Wolfie up into P9 then. Was there an overtake on the just before we got into Le Crom? Let's have a quick look and see. So no, he'd already made the move, I think. So Kennels was just overtaken somewhere, and we've missed it. Again.
Richard in 8th, Wolfie 9th, and now Kennels in 10th. That's a great run from Wolfie, though, because he started, I think it was 14th. So he's up to 9th already, and just half a second behind VSR Richard. But the tyres seem to be holding up pretty well so far. In fact, I was looking at Levidius, it's only 1.3 seconds, so they're a little bit, Deacon is bringing that gap down. There's definitely areas where Deacon is faster, but I'm also noticing that Levidius is going into the wet parts of the track to keep those tyres as wet as possible, to keep them cool so they will last as long as possible, because the wear is beginning to add up now, and they are under half a tank of fuel. So it's looking like they will have to make another pit stop in the not too distant future. But it's very close. It's nip and tuck between Levitius and Deacon right now. But there is a dry line, as you can see, emerging.
Papaya Racer going for a move around the outside. He's going to have to do it the long way round, but he's going to have the inside line. But Vars Vartavis will just about hold on to 5th position ahead of Papaya Racer. But it's Captain Slow that's been brought into the fight as well, who is very close now as they nearly went 3 wide. Captain Slow up the inside, but just about avoids each other from Papaya Racer as well. And they are all over the place right now. It's Captain Slow just in front of VSR Richard, and Wolfie now in the fight as well in a 9th position. So getting on board with VSR Wolfie now in P9 in the slipstream of VSR Richard. Captain Slow trying to jink his way to the side to cut off that slipstream. And then there's more moves with Papaya Racer going up the inside of Fish to move up into P5. Fish is not going to give up without a fight though, and Fish gets up the inside of Papaya Racer, and Papaya Racer down into P7 because there's Captain Slow. And I've lost my voice again. Oh, and there's contact between the two drivers. And that was a bit of a mess going into No Name there. And let's have a look on the replay, see exactly what happened. So there's a Papaya Racer and Vars Vartavis, and a slight bit of contact as I struggled to get the camera on board there. And Captain Slow looked to... well, he looked to take advantage, but it looks like there was a little bit of contact between Captain Slow and Vars Vartavis, and there was Papaya Racer that took a full advantage. And yeah, unfortunately, with Captain Slow and Vars Vartavis losing a couple of positions. In fact, Captain Slow down is a P10 now, Hugh.
Yes, it's all changed. I think, as you say, there was a bit of contact there, and it was so close between about 5 cars, between 5th to 10th, and it's still flying up there as Wolfie. If we go into 6th place, it's right there. They're coming down into the chicane, and Wolfie's going up the inside, but then thinking again, and Papaya Racer keeps that 5th place, but Wolfie's right behind him, and VSR Richard is in 7th place. It's very, very close. Then we've got Vars Vartavis behind that, but Papaya Racer is still holding on to 5th, with Wolfie looking around the outside. Can he go around the outside of the first hairpin? Oh, he's on the
old
inside
switcheroo!
now.
The old switcheroo from Wolfie. They're going to be side by side as we come up to Eau Rouge. Who's going to back out, though? That is the question. Papaya Racer's just got a nose in front of Wolfie, and Wolfie backs out then. He was Papaya Racer being a little bit braver, but VSR Richard backed off, and there was Vars Vartavis up the inside and actually move in front of Richard and Wolfie to move up into P6, and now he's starting to close down Papaya Racer on in the fifth position. My voice, honestly, Joe, I'm really losing it today. But yeah, that was a very opportunistic move from Vars Vartavis, who makes up 2 positions then to 6th position, and it just shows you how tight and intense it is between about 5 drivers right now. Deacon's in first. Okay.
By 1.6 seconds.
Okay.
It's all happened in last. I think it's the tyres, because they're both going through the intermediate tyres. They're almost out of them. They're about 3/4 of the way through.
Levitius got damage. Levitius has got damage on the rear. Yeah, he's had it off somewhere. I can't see exactly what happened, but it looks like Levitius has made a mistake. Perhaps... yeah, a very uncharacteristic mistake from Levitius as well. So yes, we have a new leader in Deaky then, who is 1.8 seconds ahead. It looks like he's pulling away from Levitius as well then, who's now in 2nd position. 4.8 seconds is the gap between him and JDJ, who is currently in 3rd for VSR as well. And Galara actually in close proximity of him. 1.5 seconds is the deficit, as both Deaky and Levitius come in from P1 and 2. JDJ's decided to go an extra lap, it looks like then. So JDJ currently inherits the race lead, and then Galara is also coming into the pits as well. So it looks like then that there is a big change in the order, as Wolfie is now up into P2, Kennels in P3, with a very fast and not so slow Captain Slow in 4th position, and VSR Richard as well in 5th position. So it is all change on lap 13 or 24, but does that mean that the rain is on its way? That is the question. But Captain Slow all over the back of Kennels right now as he swings across to the inside. And has he taken that position away from Kennels as we go into Melmedy? And yes, I think he just about holds on to it, yes. And Kennels goes a little bit sideways as VSR Richard tries to take advantage of the situation. Doesn't make the move with Kennels for the time being. He may have the inside line for Brussels though, but no, he decides better of it and stays in 5th position, Hugh.
Well, it's all happening, and I think as well, JDG in 1st place, he's still got plenty of fuel left. He's got 1/4 of a tank. His tyres they're pretty worn, but he's got an 8.5 second lead, and he's looking pretty good at the moment on the tyres and on the fuel. So can he stretch this out a little bit more? How many more laps can he do? And of course, Wolfie is up to 2nd place, just 8.5 seconds behind. But he will have to come in again, but he's still got fuel left. but it's really not too bad. But we've got a wonderful race here between Captain Slow and Wolfie. Just 1.3 seconds in it, and Levitius is down to 7th. At least his damage is fixed and he's on a full tank of fuel, but will that last? I don't think that will last till the end of the race, so we're going to have to keep our eyes on him. He's 6 seconds behind Deacon in 6th place, but of course they've just done their pit stops, so we'll have to see how that goes. But it is certainly all to play for, but some great changes. It's certainly going to be a race. And JDG now has come into the pits on his intermediates.
Yes, so the heavens have opened up now, Hugh, so it looks like... well, who knows if that pit stop from Levitius and Deaky was timed to perfection. Richard has decided to go even further on the worn intermediate tyres as Kennels runs wide out of the source. And I thought for a second he may have had hardware issues there, but it looks like he just went a little bit too deep into the corner. But Deaky now up into 3rd position then with Levitius. He's going to inherit 4th position. JDJ in 5th and Galara in P6, who have both just made their pit stops. Vartavis then is in P7 or Visar Fish with a Papaya Racer in P8 and Wolfie in P9, so we've got a 3-way battle for 7th position. But it's going to be interesting to see the difference in lap times with Richard on the very worn intermediate tyres. Currently the gap is 5 seconds to Kennels. Kennels has got a 3.7 second lead over Deaky right now, but you can see with the rain meter on the left hand side we are approaching the wet conditions as Kennels again goes wide out of No Name there. And yeah, he's really struggling on them tyres. It looks like, yeah, he still goes wide out of Pujon as well. And there's Deaky really closing that gap to Kennels now. So this is really hurting Kennels on this stint, because he has lost about 5 seconds to Deaky just on one lap. So Kennels really struggling. Deaky is close to the back of him now. Kennels doesn't have to give way, but this will be holding up Deaky as Deaky tries the old switcheroo, gets past Kennels to move up into 2nd position. Levitius, meanwhile, though, he is a further 5.4 seconds away from Kennels, but that is closing all the time, though. It is now down to about 5 seconds as Kennels desperately tries to hang on to the back of Deaky's slipstream there to gain that extra speed, but it does seem like he's really struggling at this point. But yeah, interestingly though, the drivers have decided to go on to intermediates. Richard still not coming in to the pits, so Richard's saved a lot of fuel, but he is on them like very worn intermediate tyres as Kennels comes into the pits from 3rd position. Levitius now moves up into 3rd position. Kennels is sinking right now. Has that really cost him in this race, because he was in a pretty lofty position, but I do feel like that last lap from Kennels has really hurt his race there, as JDJ now into P4, Galara in P5, Wolfie P6, and it's well, a gaggle of cars behind him. So we've got Vartavis with a half a second penalty then in P7 trying to hold off Captain Slow. I do think that no, Cabs is... Oh, okay, there might have been a mess up in the graphic there, but Cabs is slow, gets a slow exit out of Eau Rouge, and there's Papaya Racer up the, well, it'd be the outside of Cabs is slow, but tugs back in to the slipstream, and it looks like Gran Turismo is having a hard job of keeping up with the action here, as Cabs is slow holds on to P7, but they are side by side, Papaya Racer and Vartavis, as Papaya Racer sweeps in front of Fish to move up into P8, and Vartavis or Fish in P9, and then Captain Slow, well, he may come under increasing pressure as he tries to hold on to that 7th position, Hugh.
Wow, it's all happening, and VSR Richard has lost 2.5 seconds to Deacon because of his condition of his tyres, and he'll surely have to come in for fuel as well. But it's all happening here, as you say, in that incredible battle between 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. And we're seeing 4th JDJ and Gallara as well. That gap has really come down. There's just half a second in it. So JDJ is struggling after his pit stop from being in a podium position. He's now in 4th, with Gallara hunting him down with just half a second in it. But it's all happening. And in the meantime, Levitius has cut Deacon's lead to just 2.8 seconds. So Levitius is still in there in the hunt to try and get Deacon in second place, who of course will inherit the lead. Has just come in right now.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Richard just coming in from the race lead, but he is going to lose quite a few positions. I kind of feel like with Richard, though, I feel like he was losing way too much time on that stint. Because you know, he would have been doing a lot of fuel saving, and he would have been on the very worn intermediate tyres there, and I can't help but think that he's lost out here. But we'll see. We'll see if Richard decides to just stay on the intermediates till the end of the race, then it may pay off for him. But right now we've got Deaky in the race lead with a 3-second lead over his teammate Levitius, who is 5 seconds ahead of VSR's JDJ, with his teammate in close proximity of him in 4th position. Then we've got VSR Wolfie, and Wolfie has made up I do believe 9 positions, and he's going to make the move on Captain Slow, and it's a successful overtake over Captain Slow, with Papaya Racer in close proximity, looking to sweep up as well. We'll see if we can get a replay on that. In fact, it looks like he already made the move on Captain Slow, so actually it was him defending from Captain Slow, and he was successful in doing that. But Papaya Racer now, it looks like Captain Slow is allowing Papaya Racer through, maybe. I saw him put that indicator on, which would suggest that he was letting his teammate through there. So that's very nice of Captain Slow, but maybe recognising that Papaya Racer had more speed than himself. So Papaya Racer moving up into 6th position, and now he'll be looking to challenge VSR Wolfie in the coming laps. Hugh.
Yes, and I just wonder there about VSR Richard in 11th place. Because if we look at that there, he's got enough fuel and enough tyres, I reckon, to finish the race on that. And if all the others have to come in again, and it's a very long pit stop, it's about 27 seconds thereabouts, I think, perhaps to do a pit stop here. So he might actually be back up battling near the top end of the race if the others have to come in and do another pit stop. It only seems like Leviticus, who is certainly got quite a bit of fuel, just over half a tank, and plenty of tyres. So I think Leviticus will have to come in again. I'd be very surprised if he can go that whole way with the fuel, especially as it's such a heavy on fuel with these race settings. But Deacon is now 2.5 seconds ahead in 1st place, and that gap is maintaining. So it looks like Deacon is quite happy on those tyres. Oh, he just cut the corner. Deacon's gone straight on, and Levitius has gone off. Or was that just netcode? I think that was netcode. It looked like he'd gone off, but he's back again. And I think I have lost. Oh, you're there, Sean.
No, I'm there. I was looking at the replay. I think I've just pressed the wrong button, though. Ah, that's so annoying. That's so annoying. I was trying to see, but I did see Levitius go into the gravel trap. So you was right in saying that, but I was trying to get a replay to see exactly what happened, but oh dear, I'm having a mare today in terms of getting these cameras on.
It seems to reappear, though, so quickly. It's just almost they got reset straight away. Because they were back on track in seconds, and that's what made me think it was maybe netcode. But no, it's Deacon is now 2.3 seconds ahead of Leviticus in 2nd, and they're 8 seconds ahead of Clara Brown in 3rd.
Yeah, and we've lost 2 drivers as well. We've lost JDJ, and we lost Fish from VSR.
All right.
So they're. Yeah, I reckon the technical issue we just had there, I think maybe there was maybe like a double disconnect from the two VSR drivers, and maybe what we saw on screen was perhaps a bit of netcode, perhaps, and actually it didn't actually happen to Deke and Levitius. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
We had a bit of AI intervention there, giving us an idea of what didn't happen. But the Deacon is still well ahead. Is 2.4 seconds of Levitius. So they are the leaders, with Galara Brown in third, just under 9 seconds behind. But as we look at the weather as well, it's in places it's just under the 3/4 in terms of heavy rain. So it's very, very, very varying across the whole circuit. Some places it's less than a quarter. So they're having to now go into the wet parts of the circuit.
There's going to be a move here. Papaya Racer on Wolfie as he gets the overspeed, and looks like he's made it work there as he gets past Wolfie before we even get into Lecombe then, although Wolfie is going to come fighting back then as we come through Malmedy. But that was an opportunistic move from Papaya Racer. It looked like he got such a good run out of Eau Rouge, and maybe Wolfie was struggling to keep it on the track. Who knows? He looked like he was a little bit slow, and there was Papaya Racer to sweep in front of him and move up into P4. Hugh.
Wow! There they go. Yes, it's fourth and fifth. So Papaya Racer is in fourth there, but it's all happening. It's just, if you get on the wrong part of the track and the car goes wide, you're in big trouble. And we're seeing lots of skidding, and especially it's very sketchy coming out of the corners. But they're just managing to stay on the track. And I'm just looking at the comments there. JDG said he got kicked out, but it must have been a disconnect or something's happened. By the way, that has happened. I think he's now said he's been disconnected. So that's a sad night for JDG, because he was doing so well up into podium positions at one point. But here again we have Wolfie and Papaya Racer going for it, and Wolfie's on the outside trying to get through, pushing and pushing and pushing as they come down Blanchimont into
up the inside for Wolfie as we approach the bus stop chicane, and he looks like he gets it done in time for the bus stop chicane. Papaya Racer all over the gearbox of Wolfie as they exited the bus stop chicane, but Wolfie up into P4. Q.
It's fantastic. So he's up, Wolfie, from 14th on the grid up to 4th. Can he go any further? It's how far ahead is he from Galara Brown? There's 9 seconds to it, but it looks like Wolfie has got the pedal to the middle, and he's trying to catch Galara Brown to see if he could get a podium position, because at the moment he's 9.5 seconds behind Levitius. But Wolfie, what a fantastic move there. They're going at it like nothing else, and at the moment it's still only 4/10 ahead of Papaya Racer, so anything can happen here as they go up the long straight, and Papaya Racer is trying to do everything he can to close that gap again, to stay on that drying line, even though those intermediate tyres are beginning to burn out, and he's got just under half a tank of fuel. But they're still in it, half a second between Wolfie in 4th, Papaya Racer in 5th. It's all happening now, Sean.
It is indeed, yeah, it is. Yeah, just like the last round, it seems to be Wolfie and Papaya Racer that are in this close and intense battle right to the very wire as well. And with 5 laps remaining, looks like it's going to continue on for the foreseeable future. But yes, certainly Wolfie has a 7.5 lead over Papaya Racer, both of them on the same strategy. Both tyres are diminishing by the second. It does look like maybe they might have to make another stop with Captain Slow. His tyres looking certainly worse for wear, but in an excellent position in 6th position, with Kennels now coming under increasing pressure from Puma Racing. Now there's a little wiggle from the rear of Kennels' car on the exit of Paul Ferrer, I do believe. So yeah, Neil may sniff an opportunity as we go through the flat out section through Blanchimont and through to the bus stop chicane. Puma Racing Neil will be shown the outside, although I thought it was sizing up an opportunity up the inside, but it looks like Kennels is going to just about hold off Puma Racing Nils. There's a tiny bit of contact through the chicane as Captain Slow comes into the pits from P6 then. So moving down the positions now on lap number 20. Is there some rain on the horizon? That is the question. There could well be, and obviously what we was talking about with VSR Richard, who looked like he tried to save fuel and went on the tyres longer. That may have backfired for him, because look at his tyres now. There is nothing on them front intermediate tyres, and he will definitely have enough fuel, but it looks like he's going to have to change them tyres again, Hugh.
Yes, and I can see as well that both Levitius and Deacon are in the same position. Their tyres are almost shot, but Deacon's got hardly any fuel. Levitius has managed to save some fuel, although he'll have to come in within the next lap or two. So with all these pit stops coming up, will that make a difference? But as you say, poor old Richard, it looked like he'd made a massive stroke on strategy, but I think he just burned through those tyres very, very quickly as the track was drying out. But then will they get wet again? But it's very, very dodgy. In fact, I don't think there's any tyres left on Levitius's car, so perhaps he'll have to come into the pits even on this lap, because I don't see much grip left on them at all. But as we go through the field, it's Puma Racing was still just 4 tenths ahead of Kennels. They're still battling it out for 6th and 7th place, and as they come, there's only 5 laps to go, including the one they are on, and it looks like Kennels has got a penalty. He's got a penalty as Deacon and Levitius come into the pits.
Indeed, yep. Half a second penalty, so Richard will overtake him once Kennels serves that penalty. But it does look like the heavens are starting to open again. I did see a hint of a wiper going, and you can just about see it there. So Wolfie, it looks like the whole top 5 are coming into the pits. I would imagine everyone will be coming into the pits, because there's Puma Racing Neil P6, and yes, Neil comes in, Richard comes in. Looks like they're going to be going onto the wet tyres. So that strategy call from Richard has definitely backfired on him, because he comes into the pits from 7th position. The one thing I will say about Richard is that he has a little bit more fuel on board, so he may not spend as much time into the pits, so he might still make the overcut on a few of the drivers. But Levitius comes out on track. 1.8 seconds is the gap between him and Deaky then, with Galara in 3rd position, who has a half a second penalty. Oh, that is going to cost him. Well, I say it's going to cost him. There's a 7.5 second gap between him and Wolfie, so maybe it won't cost him. But if he had any chance of catching the top 2, it will be over now. But Papaya Racer, meanwhile, then in 5th, and actually there's a 2-second gap between Wolfie and Papaya Racer then. So it looks like Wolfie has the upper hand on Papaya Racer, and he just now needs to be consistent in the 3.5 laps that we've got of this race. But Captain Slow is in 6th. Richard, hasn't made the overcut on anyone, because he remains in 7th position. 8.7 seconds is the gap to Captain Slow, and then we've got Puma Racing Neil, who is just in front of Kennels, holding on for 8th position, and then Whipperman quite a bit further back in 10th, and 11th Mac and Latari Racing in 12th. So that is the situation right now, Hugh. We've got 3 laps remaining. I mean, looking up and down the grid, can we expect drama in the final embers?
Absolutely. I never want to say that there wouldn't be drama, because if you say it won't be, I'm sure it will be. But it's certainly, the rain is really coming down now. You can see the wipers on, there's plenty of spray. Deacon and Levitius are battling out. There's 1.3 seconds between 1st and 2nd as they come on to the last 3 laps of the race. And as they come into the hairpin, that wonderful livery kind of reddish pink GTR of Deacon is under so much pressure, and Levitius gets a slightly better exit, but there's still 1.2 seconds now. They're almost into the kind of slipstream range there as they come through Eau Rouge up to the hill there, and then onto the Kemmel Straight. Oh, they're always easy, and Deacon's taking a penalty, half a second penalty. Over to you, Sean.
Indeed, yeah. For cutting track limits at Eau Rouge, it looks like I've got the replay saved, but Deaky struggles to get on the anchors as we came through to Lecombe, so this has really closed the gap between Levitius and Deaky. And Levitius is in prime position right now because, of course, he hasn't got that penalty as Deaky really struggles to get on the brakes through Brussels then, and Deaky is really struggling at this stage as we come through turn number 9 at No Name. And the gap is 7/10 of a second right now, but Levitius, of course, has got the upper hand because if he keeps within this distance, oh my god, he's going all types of sideways out of Pouhon, and Deaky now able to pull away from him slightly, but it looks like both of them are really struggling at this stage as we go through I've forgotten what the name of this corner is. It's turn number 12 anyway. And then through Paul Ferrer. It's looking very tricky for the drivers out there. Deaky is about to serve his half a second penalty. Levitius is going to have the overspeed. Will he be able to make the overtake? That is the question. Here comes Levitius now, and Deaky is going to hold that inside line. Levitius is going to try and go around the outside and move up into the lead of the race with 2 laps remaining. So we're going to go into the bus stop chicane now. Levitius needs to time his braking to perfection, which he does, and he will hold on to the race lead for the time being, but it's certainly going to be squeaky bum time for him because Deaky is just half a second away from him. Hugh.
My goodness, it's all to play for here with first and second. Can Deacon get back into this? Can he get back behind Levitius and put the pressure on, cause a mistake? There's only half a second in it as they come to Eau Rouge, round to down the hill and then up the hill. Here they come round. Now it looks so wet, so tricky. You're going to be so careful. There's now about 7.5 tenths, but can Deacon push to try and get back up to Levitius? But it looks like Levitius has got a little bit more momentum and they're pulling away from everybody else. Oh, it looks tricky as you come into the braking, into the right, then the left. But he takes a tighter line, watching those curves. But all it is just 2 laps to go. Any mistake will change this result. But Levitius, at the moment, has taken that lead. They've gone a fantastic move around the outside. Oh, and Deacon struggles there. I think they're both now, well, they're on the wet weather tyres. The majority of the field are on the wet weather tyres, and they seem to be really struggling on them. They seem to be better on the intermediates, especially with this kind of weather and this kind of amount of rain. But it looks like Levitius, he's pulled out another 6 tenths or so. So now there is 1.5 seconds between the two of them. But can they do anything, Sean, in this last couple of laps? Will Levitius make a mistake, or will he just continue to drive away?
Well, it looks like he is starting to pull away, Hugh, because the gap is now 2 seconds, or 1.9 seconds. So, there was a little bit of a wiggle from Levitius. That has cost him a couple of tenths, but the gap is still 1.7 seconds, and outside of that slipstream from Deaky then. Whether or not this will help him, who knows, but certainly on this part of the circuit, in the flat-out section through to Blanchimont, he hasn't quite got that advantage, although in saying that, we're looking at the gaps now, and that gap has come down by a couple of tenths. But it's going to be so important for Deaky now to get the best run out of the bus stop chicane and really close that gap to try and get in that slipstream range as we go on to the last lap of the race here at Spa-Francorchamps, round 9 of the GT500 SMA Championship. And vital that Deaky now gets a good run out of Eau Rouge and try and get into the toe of Levitius. It does look like he got a good run, but the gap is still 1.5 seconds from the pair of them, and this is definitely going to be the last lap showdown of round 9, that is for sure. But it looks like they are how they are then. The gap is 1.4 seconds and closing. But of course, now it's going to be the turn of Levitius to get his braking nailed on. And it looks like he does as we come through Malmedy now. And it's looking like if Levicius can hold his nerve, surely he's going to come across the line to claim his 7th win of the season. But Deaky really needs this first position if he's got any chance.
Wolfie's gone up into third ahead of Glara Brown.
Right, okay. Was it down the straight, was it? Let's have a look.
It was on the Kemmel Street, I think.
May have been before that because he's already in third on the replay. So, yeah, something may have happened before. I had my eyes glued to the racing action for the race victors, and it's looking like Levicius is going to hold on to that first position then. The gap is currently 1 second, though, and closing. So is there going to be late drama on lap 24 of 24. Deaky gets a good exit, but so does Levitius out of the Paul Ferrer then, and in fact he has extended that lead to 1.2 seconds. So there is literally going to be one corner, well, 3 corners to go technically, but 1 section to go. That is the bus stop chicane, which has caught out a few of the drivers. Is Levitius going to have it now, Don? And I think so. So Levitius is going to come across the line to claim his 7th win of the season, and a fantastic fight back to grab the race victory ahead of Deaky in 2nd position. And now we've got the fight between VSR Galara Bryn and Wolfie for P3 and 4, but Galara is going to hold on to a podium and officially join us in the interview room. So congratulations to Galara. Wolfie with 4th position, up 10 positions, and Papaya Racer grabs 5th position, up 9 positions, I do believe. Might be the other way around, I'm not sure, but great fight back from the pair of them. TNR Captain Slow in P6, and VSR Richard claims 7th position. Puma Racing Neil with another excellent performance finishes in P8, and Kennels will finish in P9. And then it looks like Whipperman is going to have a top 10 finish for him. And it looks like Puma Racing Mac is going to come home in 11th, with Latari Racing in 12th position. So my voice is very sore right now, Hugh. So it shows you how much I've been shouting all race. But what are your thoughts on the race?
Oh, a fantastic race there. I mean, at one point it looked like Levitius was in real trouble, but he's managed to come back again and get the lead from Deacon and take another victory. But what about Galara Brown and Wolfie? A fantastic performance, but then Wolfie from at least 9 or 10 places he's made up out of that race, which is fantastic to start at the back end of the grid and to make it up to those positions. What a brilliant race that has been, and with all the rain. But I wonder that they all struggled on that wet weather tyre. Maybe they should have gone and stayed on the intermediate tyre. That may have been a bit better, but that's what they did. But we've had a fantastic race tonight, and well done to all the drivers.
Yes, indeed. And if the podium finishers can get into the waiting room for us, we're going to quickly read out the classified race results from round 9 at Spa-Francorchamps. But yes, it was Levitius again who grabs the 7th race victory, 6 in a row for him as well of the season. But with what is one of the best races we've seen in a very, very long time, and that comes with high praise, as every race in the SMA has been intense and very exciting. But yeah, congratulations to Levitius. He finishes in front of his TNR teammate Deaky, who grabs an excellent 2nd position for him. Then it's VSR Galara Bryn, and I can't wait to interview Galara in the booth, because this will be his first time in the interview room. Actually gets back-to-back podiums though, after the penalties that were handed out last week to Wolfie and Papaya Racer. But yeah, Galara finishes in an excellent 3rd position. VSR Wolfie with a fantastic fight back. I will need to confirm whether or not Wolfie started from 13th or 14th, but they were starting from row 7, pretty much starting from the back, and then moving up to fourth position with a fantastic fight back for Team VSR. Papaya Racer grabs fifth position for TNR, and TNR Captain Slow with an excellent performance from him. He grabs a sixth position, and VSR Richard seventh position, just finishing 9/10 of a second behind him. A little bit unfortunate for him as the weather looked like it really caught him out in this race. But Puma Racing Neil with another great performance. He finishes in 8th position. And then 9th went to Kennels, which was certainly better than last week, where he had hardware issues. Grabs an excellent 9th position for him, ahead of TNR Whipperman, who grabs a top 10 finish. Then it was Puma Racing Mac in 11th position, and then maybe a little bit of a nightmare for Latari Racing, aka Jewel Bear, who finishes in 12th position. And then just retirements from VSR JDJ and VSR Fish, who we don't know what happened. It sounds like they both got kicked out, so it was just very unfortunate. Unfortunately, this does happen, but even so, very unfortunate, because JDJ was definitely riding high, and I know Vartavis or Fisk was also doing very well at the time. So, just very, very unfortunate. But we're going to get ourselves into the interview room now, and we will. If all three drivers are in there, we will probably start off with Galara, who finished in 3rd position. So let me just quickly get into the interview room, and let's get the thoughts of the 3 drivers. Okay. Right. Okay. So I think the first driver we're going to speak to is Galara with a brilliant podium, P3. Congratulations, Galara, and how does that feel?
Wow, how's it? Yeah, no, it feels great. Finally to get on the podium after trying so hard.
Indeed. And how do you think the race paved out for you, like in terms of like maybe what you may have done in practice to how the race went? I mean, the actual race conditions themselves, were they different, or was it very similar? I mean, how did it go?
It was actually very difficult to practice for this race, because the more cars there's on track, the quicker the track dries out. So if you're only 5 or 6 cars on the track, then it takes longer to dry out than 14 cars. So yeah, it was very difficult for us to practice in similar conditions. But that first rain, no lobby I was in ever had so much rain in that first section. That was torrential. But yeah, that actually helped us a bit to get to the second stint.
Indeed, and I was missing out on so many moves. I mean, literally the grid was changing all the time. It was like 1 minute, JDJ was up there, then you may have propelled yourself up there. I mean, obviously your teammate Wolfie, who started at the back of the grid, I mean, he moved up several positions as well. So
yeah, he drove very well.
He did indeed. Who finished in P4.
Yes.
But yourself, I mean, obviously 3rd position, very, very good. I mean, this officially is your best performance of the season, or best result of the season. Of course, penalties were dished out last week, so you was actually given 3rd position last round.
Yes.
But to actually do it live on the broadcast, I mean, that must feel amazing for you, right?
Yeah, it does. It's just a pity that it came at the cost of JDJ, because he disconnected for some reason, and then Fizz as well. So yeah, unfortunately we're losing a lot of points there. But what can we do? It happens. I mean, there are retirements in real racing as well, so we have to roll with it.
It's the internet, unfortunately. These things do happen, and we never want to see anyone disconnect, especially after a great performance, particularly from JDJ as well. But hey, you can celebrate for sure, though, Galara. And
I was almost robbed because on the last lap my screen switched off.
Oh no.
Yeah, I just went blank, and then I pressed pause so my car doesn't crash. That's why Wolfie came past me on the last lap. But luckily it was my teammate, so I gave the position back. If it was somebody else behind me, I wouldn't have gotten it back.
Wow, that is absolutely crazy. Thank God for the pause button in Gran Turismo.
Yes. Otherwise, I would have been in the wall in Eau Rouge for sure.
Hugh, have you got any questions for Galara?
I was going to say that just answers my question, because I suddenly saw Wolfie go past there, and then you got past him again. So it was connection issues that caused it. But no, many congratulations on a great race. As you say, the weather was horrendous. How did you find the wet tyres on that last section? It looked like you were struggling more on the wet tyres than they were on the intermediates.
Yeah, it was strange. On the intermediate stints, I felt like I had so much grip. I mean, I was keeping up with JDJ easy. I was even catching him at one point. But yeah, on the wet, I was struggling for some reason. I don't know. I think it's because we practice so much on the intermediates, because the whole race is basically down the intermediates. Maybe like neglected the softs a bit after wets.
I mean, I think every driver, even Levitius and Diki in first and second ahead of you, were exactly the same. It looked like it was a real handful getting round the track in these conditions. But well done on a thoroughly deserved third place. It's great to see you up there, and that will do a lot for your championship as well. It gets you further up the series.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, definitely a late charge in this second half of the season. I just wanted to quickly ask as well, so how does the NSX feel on this sort of second half of the season? I mean, are you having a lot more confidence in the car now?
This car just handles beautifully. The GTR's got a shorter gear ratio, it's got better acceleration, but sure, this Honda just handles beautifully. Because in the rain, you can actually drive this thing without traction control if you really want to. And with the GTR, I would never even try that.
Did you drive without the traction control?
No. But I could if I really wanted to. I'd rather have that little bit of a safety net than try to show off.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one, to be fair, and it certainly worked out for you for the better. So congratulations on third position. Go and celebrate, have a late beer or something like that, and it was absolutely fantastic to see you on track, and of course to speak to you for the first time as well. So So
it's my turn finally.
yes, finally we got you there. Galara. But look forward to seeing you next week, and obviously good luck for the rest of the season to you.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Galara. Take care.
Right, cheers.
Okay, and then to our second place finisher. It looks like he was going to get just his second race win of the season. But DK, congratulations on second position. How are you feeling after that? Oh. Is he there? You might need to unmute yourself, DK.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Sorry. There we go. I'm feeling it was quite an intense race. With the changing conditions, and it kept you on your toes quite a lot. It just kind of fell away from me at the end. I got a off-a penalty coming up Eau Rouge, and that kind of what cost me the first place. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So yeah,
it was very unfortunate. I mean, I was obviously like I love both yourself and Levitis and everyone in SMA, but it was great to see both of you battling away, and certainly taking the fight to Levitis. I mean, so you said you got that half a second penalty. I mean, at one point, I think the gap between you two was roughly about 5 or 6 seconds. So, I mean, at that stage of the race, was you kind of like confident that maybe you could have got the race victory, or is it like so unpredictable in the wets that you just can't rest on your laurels and take it for granted?
Well, coming out the pits, I put like maybe 5% less fuel in, just to get a slight advantage. Because I knew I could maintain the fuel till the end of the race or whenever I needed to. But my last stint, or the second to last stint, was quite good, and then the last stint, I think I struggled a bit with just the wet conditions, the full wet conditions, and yeah, obviously I think Killa said that we do most of the race on the inters, and the wets were obviously a whole new different tire, and the track is completely different. So I think I just struggled to adapt quickly compared to Liam, and thus I lost. I lost that that 5-6 second advantage. So yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's easy for me and Hugh to be sitting in the commentary booth and judging you all on track, when I can imagine it must have been very, very difficult conditions. And I mean, even like the last stint on the wet tyres, it just looked horrific out there. Like literally, I could see like yourself and Levitius just like going sideways and kind of missing your braking points, and or running a little bit deep and stuff. And I mean, just tell us how tricky it was at the end.
Oh, it was super intense. Again, it is just the conditions change so quickly from 2 laps ago. It's difficult to kind of adapt again very well. It's quite difficult, and yeah, I think Liam just adapted quickly, or quicker than me, unfortunately. And yeah, obviously to put the cherry on top, I got a penalty, which ultimately just ruined everything.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean the penalty zone at Spa is like one of the worst out of the whole calendar, isn't it? I mean, it's brutal, really, and just very, very unfortunate. But a fantastic performance from yourself, though, Deaky. Though you should be very proud of that. And Hugh, have you got any questions for Deaky?
Yes, Diggy, just on that last section there, when you, after your pit stop, and both you and pretty much all the field went on those wet tyres, do you think perhaps the intermediate would have been better? Because we could see on the radar it was very similar weather conditions as to before, although it did look like it was very wet. But do you think the wet tyre was the best tyre?
Well, coming into the pits on that for that last stint, I was looking at the radar, and I saw the rain wasn't really coming in as fast or as heavy as what I thought, comparing it to my previous practice sessions. So I was almost considering going on inters again, just to maybe see if it works, because there was quite a big gap behind as well. But obviously I was in the lead as well, so I didn't really want to risk to losing the first place. So I just went back to the wet tire, which was the preferred tire. I think most of the field went on the wet tire at the end. But the intermediate was definitely something that went through my mind briefly before I put my wet tires on. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well done for a fantastic second place. And you almost got it. You almost had it. You were leading for many laps, and you gave us a great race to watch. And maybe you'll get one better the next time. But it's a fantastic drive tonight. And well, many congratulations to you.
Thank you. Cheers.
And Deaky, just one final question. So obviously I've been asking everyone this. So we've got 3 races to go. Is there any particular week that maybe favours you? I mean, obviously it's looking like in the championship it's a 2-horse race. So is there a particular circuit that you feel confident that maybe you can start clawing back that gap to Levitius?
Well, to be honest, I don't actually know the next 2 races. I know Daytona, one of the last 3. I don't actually know the but I know that for Daytona, the GTR is going to struggle a lot just because of the gear ratios on the car, so it tops out quite quickly compared to the Honda. So I think that will be kind of a downfall in a way for the car and the championship as well. So yeah, unfortunately I don't actually know the other two tracks. So yeah.
Yeah, so basically, well, I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler now, but next week is the Nürburgring GP. Then that's followed by Daytona, and then of course, yeah, I've completely forgot about it. The special event is the last race of the season. I do wonder whether or not it will be Group 2 cars again, or whether or not it'll be a completely different combo. I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, Nürburgring, are you confident on Nürburgring?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's a track that I know. So again, I think I just need to put the time in and the practice.
Yeah.
Like I done this week, which I think did pay off overall. But yeah, I think Nürburgring. Again, it's a track I know quite well.
Yep.
So I should be up there, hopefully, if I don't spin or do something idiotic. So yeah.
Well, good luck to you for next week and the remainder of the season. Fantastic performance from you. Congratulations on that second position. And yeah, look forward to seeing you next week, DK.
For sure. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, mate. Take care. And then last but not least, we have our race victor. And that, I'm saying it for the 7th time now. Levitius, congratulations on the race victory. And I mean, that was a very intense ending to the race. I mean, how are you feeling after that?
Honestly, I'm extremely disappointed in myself because I don't know how I lost the car. I really don't know. I was looking at it right now. I used less curb in the previous lap and I managed to spin it. So that was something really unexpected. I got damage. And after that, I was like, oh no. Am I even going to keep the podium? Because the thing is, I don't know how much the time it took to repair the damage. So I was extremely upset with myself. I was really determined to just keep going. I was like, no, we're not gonna falter here. We're going to just push really hard and see what happens. And I don't think I've pushed ever like this hard at this car, especially in the rain. Nonetheless, it was insane. I nearly crashed like a few times, especially through Eau Rouge and Radion. I went flat out when I knew I shouldn't go flat out, and I almost got a penalty, but luckily we didn't. We avoided what Deke got, and we just got ahead of him. He was doing really well with the strategy, and we tried to do something opposite to him and fuel the car longer. So for later in the race, we just fuel less, and it did help us. We gained about 3 seconds in the pit stop at the end, and yeah, just kept it on the track after that. Yeah, I've never pushed that hard ever. Yeah.
It was a great fight back for sure. I mean, yeah, just in response to so it was definitely a mistake that you made because I actually missed it. I mean, there was just. I mean, it was a mad race to try and keep up with. It was just like everyone was kind of like making mistakes here and there. There was a changing of positions all the time as well. But it was weird to me because I thought, well, the track was kind of in a drier phase, I guess. But you obviously was on the sort of the more worn intermediate tyres, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you know, kind of. So it was literally just sort of getting onto the curb and you know, obviously the curbs are very slippery and just wasn't able to save the car.
Definitely. I almost did. I almost saved it. I actually could have had it a lot worse. I managed to regather the car, so I only hit it slightly from my rear, slightly like head on instead of... No, I avoided going head on. My rear just tapped it hard enough just to get damage in the right rear wheel and the rear wing, which saved my race because if I hit the wall square on, I was dropping like 5-6 positions. So yeah, it was really like these cars are monstrous in the rain, and the torque that they produce, you just have to be careful, make sure you don't spin out. So yeah, the conditions were just horrific. The wind direction is changing all the time, so our braking markers were always adjusting. I always had to make sure that I saw what the wind direction was doing, because it could mean braking 20-30 meters later or earlier at the end of the long straights. So honestly, one of the most difficult races I've ever done. It was actually a very short race after I made my mistake, because I was just fully pushing non-stop, which was really exciting. I did steal that win from Deke at the end there with his penalty, but he drove it insanely well in the practice as well. He was always close to me. Yeah, what can I say? It's really happy with the performance coming back through to win.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you kind of answered it now, I guess, but because I was going to ask you how happy was you, seeing the likes of Deke, going a little bit wide, picking up that half-second penalty. Because obviously you was like 6 seconds behind at one stage, and I know you said about the strategy, yes. But you did brilliant to close that gap, and then I just thought, okay, Deke just needs to sort of hold his nerve, but then of course he got that half-a-second penalty. You took the lead from him with, I think it was 2 laps to go, wasn't it? So
yes, it was, yeah.
How nervous was you feeling once you took the lead of the race, knowing it's kind of like all or nothing now?
To be honest with you, I actually was very confident in the last part of the race. The wet tires were very easy to drive compared to the inters, because throughout the entire race, we were driving in torrential weather, especially the first stint. The first stint's weather was a lot worse than I expected. We had purple and yellow rain instead of just green rain. So we were driving on inters when it was definitely, the full wets were definitely the better tire for those conditions. And at the end, the full wets, the difference between the inters and the full wets, you can go flat out through Eau Rouge and Radion compared to the inters. So I think that's what caught Deke out as well, because the amount of grip we had, I was very comfortable on them. And even through Blanchimont, it was easy flat out then with the full wets, because it wasn't aquaplaning as much. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I've got to say, Lev, another fantastic victory. Yes, you definitely had to work hard for that one. But yeah, I mean, I've run out of superlatives to throw your way, Lev, throughout this season. But congratulations to you. Hugh, have you got any questions for Levitius?
Yes, one quick question. Just on those tyres, do you think that intermediate tyres would have been a better tyre for the last stint? Because I asked that to Deacon, and he thought possibly, and it was on his mind whether he should use them. But do you think that the wets were the better tyre and the faster tyre for the last stint there?
To be honest with you, if you went on inters on the last stint, I think it would not have been as close. If Deke went on inters and I was on wets, I would have been driving away. It's just, the wets are just so much better. They used to be a lot worse in Gran Turismo 7, but they did fix them, so they actually are very useful. So the wets are just, they're about 2 seconds faster, maybe at Spa, with these cars. So if you went on inters in that weather, you'd be risking crashing. Yeah, there was so much standing water that it was like an ice rink. Yeah.
No, that's good to know, because it looked like on our radar it was the same amount of rain. But it's interesting that you're saying that it was actually more. So you had to choose those wets. There wasn't a decision. You couldn't have done anything else. But no, congratulations on a fantastic victory. It's great to see you up there at the head of the table, and to come back from, at one point you were down to 7th place. So no, that was a great drive through the field there, and a great battle at the end with Deacon. Gave us a great race to commentate on. Many congratulations for a great result.
Thank you, Hugh.
Yeah, and Lev, just maybe one final question then. So Galara mentioned, well, he said about maybe he could drive in the wet conditions on the without the traction control. Sorry, did you use traction control, or did you think no, I've got enough skill to not use it?
To be honest with you, I did consider it, but I knew already this car, especially all these cars with the turbocharger, that it slows you down excessively with the TC on. You just really need to use the higher gears and then use the torque out of the low RPMs to get it to go out of the corners. Because if you use the TC and you even if you save a moment, you can save a moment without TC and it'll be faster than when it cuts your power out. Because obviously the turbo needs to spool up again. So You really just need to get used to driving without it. That is the fastest way. It is not the easiest way. Maybe a year ago I'll be using TC still, but I've been pushing really hard to understand the wet and how to drive the wet lines in the wet. So, yeah, I don't think TC is the best, but I can see why people use it as a safety net. Yeah.
Fair play to you. A lot braver than some then, by the sounds of it. But no, congratulations again. I mean, just a fantastic drive. Yes, you said you made the mistake, but you was able to close that gap. You got the move done on Deaky, and you held the race lead to come home for your 7th victory of the season. So, fantastic drive from you, Lev, and look forward to seeing how you get on next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lev. Take care.
You too.
All right, bye. So, that is the thoughts of the top 3 drivers. And, I have to say, Hugh, very interesting to get the thoughts of the drivers and the confidence and perhaps the not so much confidence going into that race. We have, obviously I've just kind of mentioned it then. So next week I am trying to, I've got onto the wrong screen because I am a numpty. Right, next race is round 10 at Nürburgring GP. It is, what can I say? I absolutely love Nürburgring in Germany, neighbouring country of Belgium, of course. And it is the Grand Prix configuration, but I particularly love the green hell, so it's a shame that we're not at Nordschleife, but the GP layouts will definitely provide some intense and exciting battles. But what are your thoughts, Hugh?
Yeah, certainly. The Nürburgring GP circuit, we've seen great overtakes there, great battles, we've seen wet races, we've seen dry races. It's got places to overtake, lots of hairpins and tight corners and then fast corners. It's going to be exciting. It's going to put these drivers to their limits to see what they can do. And will we see another mixed grid next week? Will we see another great battle? But what a race we've had tonight. I think my driver of the day is definitely Wolfie, coming from last up to 4th. That was a fantastic achievement, and really, really good. And Papaya Racer as well, right behind him. But no, it's the championship is really giving us fantastic racing, and really the way that they're driving is just top notch. They're thinking about their strategy, their tyres, and even the wind direction. All these things coming into play, that's giving us a top-notch championship to commentate on. And I'm sure for the viewers, it really kind of racing that they won't see anywhere else.
Well, you just ruined the question I was going to ask you there, Hugh. But okay, it's nice to get your thoughts on the driver of the day there. Also, for the people in chat though, let us know who your driver of the day was, and maybe even the move of the day as well, because there was certainly some great manoeuvres from the drivers. I did miss a few of them, unfortunately. It's definitely been one of them weeks where sometimes you get a little bit lucky and you catch every bit of racing action, and then you have weeks like this week where it seemed like I missed quite a handful of them. But if you, of course, join us for next week for round 10 of the GT500 Championship on this very channel, of course, Sim Motorsport Association, and catch us on Monday the 14th of April, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time, to see how that one plays out. So, but also as well, please do follow our socials to keep up to date with everything on SMA, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, our great community we've got on Discord, and as well as our YouTube channel. Please do hit that subscribe button. Please hit that like button if you enjoyed the broadcast. It really, really does help out a small channel like SMA as we continue to grow this platform. So that'll be much, much appreciated. And definitely hit the bell notification button as well, so you don't miss a thing. But also as well, if you do want to get involved in these leagues, then do follow our link to the Discord, and of course interact with our amazing community that is around about 170 members strong. But also as well, big shout out to the SMA admin crew as well for their tireless work in the background. Yeah, they certainly keep everything organised and always at hand to answer any of the drivers' questions and stuff. So yeah, make sure you say a big thank you if you know the SMA admin crew. And also a big thank you to obviously the race director for planning and staging these awesome races for our viewing pleasure. And of course, he's the only person that's going to know about this special race that is planned for the last race of the season as well. And I really can't wait to see what is going to be planned out for that. Also as well, live on the Hugh Hatrick YouTube channel, every Thursday evening Hugh gets to interview the stars from SMA. So Hugh, would you like to explain a little bit more detail about these podcasts that you do on your channel?
Yes, we'll be streaming live on Thursday from 8:15 South Africa time. And last week we did the whole of Tier 1. We had Levi and we had Fish and many, I think with 9 all in. I can fit just about 9 guests on my StreamYard system. And we had a great time interviewing them all, finding out how they got started, what are they thinking of the championship and their chances, their best overtakes. And I just had a good laugh, and it was nice and relaxed and informal, and you got to ask them your questions as well. And this week we're going to be doing Tier 2, so we're going to have those drivers this Thursday night at the same time, so you're welcome to come along and join us, ask lots of questions and put them on their toes, as they say, make them know what they're going to have to be, what questions are they going to have from our wonderful audience here at the SMA. But it'll be great fun to interview them, to see how things are going in Tier 2, and we're going to be doing all of the tiers in the next few weeks, so make sure you join us for that at 8 o'clock on the South African time on the Hugh Hatrick channel on this Thursday coming. But yeah, it's great fun to interview them. They're a wonderful bunch of drivers, and it's great to hear exactly how they're doing and how they all started.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it was Tier 1 that Hugh got to interview. It was a great turnout. Good, was it 8 or 9 drivers, I do believe, wasn't it, Hugh? So it was definitely great to see some of their sort of like personalities off of track, really, just to get a great insight of how they sort of got into sim racing and how they originally joined the SMA as well. So throughout the weeks, Hugh will be interviewing drivers throughout the tiers, and if you are interested in getting involved, then do let Robin or the SMA admin know, and we'll get you in there. And Hugh, the legend that he is, he will ask some questions, hopefully not so difficult ones, but certainly you'll get the opportunity to show everyone a little bit about yourself and get yourself out there. Thank you, Hugh. And also as well, so if you did miss it earlier, you do have a huge opportunity to compete in the SMA, to register for your E-licenses or your Pro licenses for the future FIA licensed events, and that is obviously including the inaugural MSA Cup tournament coming soon in late May, and that is to get involved in regional and international championships coming in future seasons and years to come. And you'll be battling it out to compete at the highest level and earn your Springboks jacket, and you know what is an officially licensed event by the FIA and Motorsport South Africa, where you'll be given the opportunity to grab full recognition representing South Africa. So make sure you don't pass up this opportunity. Registration for this pro license is coming in the next few days, so make sure you're ready with all the video links provided demonstrating how to enter for your forms and creating your driver profile. So hopefully we're on the right scene this time. Yeah, just looking in chat then, have we got... it doesn't look like anyone responded to the driver of the day. So for me personally, driver of the day, I think probably going to have to... Oh, there were so many great performances out there, Hugh. It's a difficult one to call, to be honest, because Wolfie made up 9 to 10 positions. Papaya Racer made up the same amount of positions. Of course, having that quali band, so coming from the back of the grid up to P4 for Wolfie, P5 for Papaya Racer. But then, like, Deaky, I thought was phenomenal and was very, very unlucky not to get the race victory. And, of course, Levitis, after his mistake, made... he kind of made up for it, didn't he? And, ended up getting the race victory. So... I think maybe if we're talking about the driver making up the most positions in Wolfie, maybe I'm going to give it to him, because it was a phenomenal drive, and it's just a shame I didn't get to see all the moves that he made during the race, but obviously we tried to keep up with it as much as possible, but yeah, I would say that from a racing standpoint, I think he's my driver of the day. So who was your driver of the day again, Hugh?
It was Wolfie for me as well.
Oh, it was Wolfie as well?
Yeah, I think.
Right.
Yeah. Coming from the back of the grid to fourth, it was brilliant. And nearly got a podium as well. And with some great moves. It really showing that the depth of the driver talent that we have here is brilliant. I'm more and more impressed every race when I hear about the strategies and everything that they incorporate in trying to get their cars to go faster and for them to make most use of what they have. And but for me today, definitely Wolfie. He was my driver of the day.
Okay. And then obviously special mentions as well. I mean, there were so many great performances from the drivers all across the grid. I've got to say a special mention obviously to Galara, who got his first official podium, and certainly Captain Slow as well. I think that may have been his best result of the season. So definitely a special mention goes to Captain Slow as well. But yeah, all 14 drivers, and of course we had JDJ and Fish that disconnected, but they were also doing very well in the race as well. It's just very unfortunate for them. But all 14 drivers I thought were phenomenal today. So big pat on the back for everyone. But yeah, absolute fantastic race we've just enjoyed though, Hugh. And really look forward to what's coming up next week at Nürburgring. It just keeps getting better and better, Hugh, I think, SMA. It's just absolutely phenomenal. And hopefully you enjoyed yourself today.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great to see all the drivers performing so well. And just the quality, the consistency of the drivers. And we're getting some great races, and it was spectacular. And I mean, the conditions were horrendous for them to drive in, but they managed it. There wasn't really any major issues. They managed to get back on track and keep going. We've seen just great performances right the way throughout the whole tier of drivers. So it's been a pleasure to commentate, and looking forward to the Nürburgring next week. That will be excellent on the GP course. I'm sure we'll see plenty of action, and maybe even a different podium again. You just never know what might happen. But no, it's been an excellent race tonight, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Indeed, indeed. Well, thank you for joining me tonight, Hugh. Always appreciate your company, and obviously look forward to catching up with you next week. But it was Levitius who romped home with the victory, and with 3 races remaining, it's looking nailed on that Levitius is going to be SMA's Season 1 champion. But still, anything can happen, and usually it does. But to find out, make sure that you tune in next week, same place, same time, 8:45 p.m. Eastern Africa time on Monday, the 14th of April. But until then, it's a goodbye from Hugh.
Goodbye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Stay safe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.